What's up, Tsla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, and the overall markets. I'm going to break down some big news that came out from President Trump about how he's going to be delaying some tariffs on the European Union, which could be very, very bullish for the markets heading into tomorrow. I'm also going to talk about the share prices for Tesla, SPY, and beyond. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you sign up for Moomoo with the link down below and deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 25 in total. And deposit $5,000, you're guaranteed 60 free stocks. The offer ends on June 3rd. You'll also qualify for an 8.1% APY in uninvested cash. So check out the offer down below. Anyways, as far as the market's going, I just want to say that as of right now, when we look at the way futures are moving, the market's trying to push a bit. And I think this could really help Tesla because relative to the markets, we know that Tesla tends to follow the trend at least the majority of the time. Right when the market's in like a more bullish phase, we tend to see Tesla do the same thing. When the market's bearish, we see Tesla fall with the markets typically. When the market rallies, we see Tesla respect an uptrend as well. The last couple of days slash, the week and a half, the market was dipping a bit. And as you could tell, Tesla's been on a bit of a downtrend for the last couple of days. But now, as the market's trying to rebound tomorrow, I think this could really benefit Tesla. So, what's happening with the news in the markets? Why is Tesla doing this? Why is the price-price ratio going up? Well, as you guys know, there's many factors affecting Tesla, from the news cycle to what's happening with the tariffs. And I believe that we have some good news coming up with the robotaxi event. For those who don't know, Elon Musk and his team have announced that they want to be launching the robotaxi by the end of June in Austin, Texas. And that's some very, very awesome news. Now, it's very awesome in a way where I do think that Tesla could rally approaching the event. But keep in mind, after big events, Tesla typically follows the saying that goes, buy the rumor, sell the news. So what could happen is, and I'm going to make this very, very blunt, very, very simple to understand. What could happen is this, right? So we have Tesla looking like this. This is the 4-hour time frame, and this is basically the flag that's forming. So it looks just like this. Tesla has this flag. I know this is kind of small, guys. It'll make sense in just a minute why I'm making this so small. But this is what Tesla looks like. So what's going to likely happen is something like this, right? So the share price is going to form a very, very nice flag, and we have this pole that are already formed. So as you could tell, we have this flag. I'm going to see if Tesla tries to break out of this or if it consolidates. But once we get to June, which is known for being green about 80 to 83% of the time for Tesla historically, we should be looking for a rally to try to get back up closer to like the high 300s, if not $400 a share. I think approaching that robotaxi event, I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla hits 370 to 400 in that range. And then let's just say by like whenever the date is, whether it's mid June or late June, once Tesla announces that they've launched 10 of their robo taxis, the hype is going to die down a bit. And I do think we're going to be looking for a move down to kind of cool off our indicators. Then we'll see what happens from there, at least for Tesla. So I'm looking for a move like this. I know this is like a little hard to comprehend in some ways since there's so much going on. But for the time being, Tesla's still in this range. We might try to break out of it. We'll have to see about that for like this week in particular. But once we get to June, there's going to be a lot of hype with the robotaxi launch. Tesla's only launching 10 of the robotaxis because they're just sticking a toe in the water, which means that they're not putting the full leg in the water. They're not basically going all in on robotaxi yet. They're going to slowly launch the service, right? They're starting off in Austin, Texas. They're going to be using different strategies to keep the intersections that it goes to very, very safe. They're trying to prioritize safety. They're just testing it out. So we have 10 of the robotaxis to be launched in June. Then Elon Musk is saying that many months after that, they could be launching thousands of them, but it's going to take some time. So that's why I do believe approaching the event, we could be looking for a big rally. But then after the events, once they officially make the launch, it's like buy the rumors, sell the news, because then we should be looking for a move back down. That's what I think Tesla's going to be doing, to be very, very blunt. So that's what I'm seeing, at least so far. But let's actually go back and kind of like bring back my scalp levels. So when you look at Tesla's scalp levels like this, what you'll see is that we're trying to break right here. We're trying to see a small push. And I think that the news involving President Trump is going to help the market and Tesla, at least to some extent. So like I said before, okay, the whole market affects the algorithms that affect individual tickers, meaning that when you see SPY, the QQQ, the overall market pushing, most of the time Tesla's also going to push with the market. And I think that with the whole market trying to likely bounce after what President Trump just announced, we might see Tesla follow the trend. And I think there's a good chance we see a small bounce tomorrow. Whether it develops into a much larger bounce depends on the news. But for now, I'm looking for a bounce. So let's talk about President Trump. What did he say this time? We have a very, very big piece of news. President Trump has announced that he's going to be extending the deadline for a 50% tariff on the European Union until July 9th. Before he was saying June 1st, now he's saying July 9th. And this is the official post from President Trump. So President Trump said that he received a call from Ursula, that is the president of the European Commission, requesting an extension on the June 1st deadline on the 50% tariff with respect to trade and the European Union. President Trump said that he agreed to the extension of July 9th, 2025. It was my privilege to do so. The commission president said that talks will begin rapidly. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So this is big news. So President Trump has a strategy, okay? He loves to threaten countries with high tariffs, give them very, very sharp deadlines, be very strict on them, not because he's going to always impose everything just like that, but it's a threat, it's a tactic, right? To get these countries to do what he wants them to do. I've said this many, many times on this channel. So he mentioned a couple of days ago that he wasn't happy with the way the Europeans were negotiating. He wasn't happy with their strategies. He wasn't happy with the way they were doing things. He mentioned no progress was being made, no progress is being made, and that they basically don't even want to deal at this point. And he was very unhappy, saying that they were screwing over the US and this and that. President Trump was very, very angry in the beginning. So that's why he threatened 50% tariffs by June 1st. So what happened was now we're seeing the European Commission calling him, and she said, "Good call, President of the United States. The EU and US share the world's most consequential and close trade relationship. Europe is ready to advance talks swiftly and decisively. To reach a good deal, we would need the time until July 9th." So he agreed. President Trump agreed because now he got Europe's attention. Now they're going to take the negotiations very seriously and get what President Trump wants specifically. So whether you like the tactic or not, I completely understand that President Trump gets praise and criticism from different people for the way in which he does things, but it worked to get Europe's attention, at least so far. And because he's delaying these massive tariffs, this is going to be a little bit more of a bullish factor for the markets. That's why when you look at futures right now, let me just show you the ES chart. This is actually pumping a little bit. It's actually pushing a bit. Same thing with NQ, it's pushing. Even Bitcoin is back to being green. So we're seeing the market trying to bounce. And I think that could be a lot more positive, at least for stocks like Tesla. So that's a good sign for tomorrow. As long as we don't get any more major bad news, the market's looking pretty good. On top of this, we had President Trump say this. He put this on his Truth Social page today, that countries from all over the world want to make trade deals with the USA. It is a beautiful thing to see. The good old USA will soon have tremendous growth and be stronger than ever before. That's another big piece of news that came from him. He also mentioned the US had a big deal that was signed between US Steel and Nippon Steel of Japan. He claims this is going to create 70,000 jobs and add $14 billion to the US economy. Not saying he's right or wrong. This is just what he claims. And obviously, the market's going to respond. So we're getting lots of positive news, guys. Lots of positive news coming out from President Trump and his team about these trade deals, about some more negotiations and such. That is some good news, at least so far as well. So like I said before, guys, whether you like or dislike Trump, it doesn't really matter. I just want to say that the market responds to him. It makes big moves, and he could be causing a lot of volatility. For example, when he announced the new tariffs, we saw Tesla and many stocks go from 347 all the way down to 333. We dumped 14 points on Tesla. We saw SPY dump from being at a high of 586 all the way down to 573. That's also 13 points down on SPY. The QQQ also dumped as a result of President Trump's tweets, which goes to show how much he affects the markets. That's why I talk about him. And he's causing a lot of volatility. Now, a couple more things. Jerome Powell gave a speech and he basically said a lot of things about how the Fed is very uncertain. He's not certain about when we're going to see a low interest rate environment again. As of right now, interest rates are elevated, and they have to wait and see what happens with their data. He also mentioned that they have to assess the situation very, very specifically. So we have to wait and see for now what the Fed is going to be doing next. On top of this, tomorrow is going to be Tuesday, May 27th. We have some housing data in the morning. We have Kashkari giving a speech in the morning, which is all quite minor. But at 10 o'clock a.m., We have consumer confidence coming out, and at 10:30 a.m. we have the Dallas Fed manufacturing numbers, which could cause some volatility. The fear and greed index is currently at greed, is making up the majority of sentiment. Right now, momentum's at extreme fear. We're going to see if that shifts as we try to bounce off our 125 daily moving average. The put to call option ratio is pushing as we have fear right now, and the VIX is also trying to bounce a little bit. So we'll see what kind of move it makes. Finally, just a quick note that Apple was still threatened with 20+% tariffs, 25% tariffs for iPhones that are produced in like India or different countries, not produced in the USA. Samsung was also hit by these tariffs by President Trump. We haven't really gotten an update on that. And that's why we're seeing some Chinese tickers, the Chinese suppliers, such as like Luxshare and many others, dropping right now. That's part of why we're still seeing Apple being affected. So it's a bit of an outlier for now, but things should still try to rebound with the big news. So, what are we looking for on Tesla? Here's the very, very simple assessment. I hope you guys can see this very properly. It's quite simple. So, if Tesla is bearish, okay, just hypothetically, I do think we're going to still try to go for 342, but then we're going to be watching to see if we get a rejection. If we get bad news, we're looking for a move down to about 337. If we don't hold that, I'm seeing 333 or below if we want to be bearish. If you're bullish, you want to see us try to actually, test 345. If we break that, we're looking for an attempt for 350 all over again. So 350 becomes a strong possibility if we get a break out of this resistance. My prediction is going to be that Tesla tries to go for 345. I think we try to retest these highs right here, which is where this resistance happens to be. Then we'll see if we try to break through this to go higher or if we get a big rejection. So watch that very closely as time goes on. But this is favoring the upwards direction a bit more, but we have to see if we can hold 345 to continue. I do think Tesla's going to push a bit for the mid 340s, maybe a bit higher. And then we'll see if we get a rejection or not off of that. So it all depends on what else President Trump says and what other pieces of news come out. But I anticipate that there's going to be some upside coming. I anticipate there's going to be a push for 345 plus on Tesla, at least temporarily. To be really bullish, you want to see this thing break 350 to really pump a lot more. As of right now, I can't guarantee that quite yet. I think we might be pushing closer to that. But whether we break that depends on if we get more bad news or not. If we don't get too much bad news, we get lots of good news, we could be looking for that. But that's what I'm looking for on Tesla, at least heading into tomorrow, an attempt for that 345 area. We got to break 350 to really continue this push. So we'll see just to be safe. That's what I'm anticipating for Tesla. Now, for SPY, let me just say that, as you guys know, we've been on a very, very big downtrend with all the tariffs and such. But keep in mind, we're holding this 575 area quite nicely. Now, if you want to be a bear, just hypothetically, okay, what I anticipate is this. Now, there is this gap all the way down here in the 560s. If we push higher tomorrow and we get a massive rejection, let's just say there's another very bad piece of news. Let's say President Trump threatens more tariffs on like another country. Just hypothetically, it is still possible to get this rejection if you want to be bearish. But that's going to be under the assumption that we kind of push and reject and we fail at 575. So if we fail at 575, we're looking for a move back down, especially as we come down to fill this gap. If we're bullish, however, you want to see us break and hold above 583. If we break this 583 to 585 area, we're looking for a attempt for 588. That's the more bullish case. If we hold above 585, I'm looking for 588, and then eventually 590 as our next resistance. So my assessment, my prediction is that I think we push for this 585 zone, which is where this imbalance happens to be tomorrow. We'll see if we reject off this or not. I'm not as sure about that because it depends on the news. But as long as we're above 580, we're still looking like we want to push a bit higher for 585 to 588 for a temporary move up. I'm using the word temporary because I don't know how long this is going to last. Will this develop into a much bigger push, or do we just push and then reject again if we get another bad piece of news? But for the time being, we're still favoring upside as of right now at the time I'm recording this. As long as there's no new bad news tomorrow, we're favoring an attempt to get up to like 585 plus as President Trump has delayed the European tariffs. So we'll see how well we hold up, but that's what I'm anticipating for now. Same thing with the triple Q. Now, if you're bearish, just hypothetically, you want to see us fill out this 507 area. This is near our 50 EMA. And then also 504. If we fail at both of those levels, we're looking for a bigger dump just to be very safe in case we get a bad piece of news. Now, we don't really have the bad news yet, so we're actually favoring a test of 513 to 515. Then we'll have to see if that's just another temporary push before we reject again to make new lows, or if we end up breaking past 513 to 515 to start pushing even higher. So I'll be watching this very closely just to be safe, so keep that in mind. But I am anticipating that we're going to be looking for a small rebound. So I think we might be testing 513 or so to 515. And and then we'll see if we get a rejection from there or not. It all depends, but just look for some upside tomorrow and see how we end up reacting to this resistance. It all depends on the news that comes up, but I do anticipate some upside to start things off for tomorrow. On the IWM, we're looking pretty good so long as we don't end up losing 201. We're favoring an attempt to get up to 204 to 205, and we'll see if we break past that or not. So look for some upside for 204 to 205, and we'll see how it ends up going from here. On ES, we're looking more bullish. As long as we don't end up losing 58.70, I think we're actually favoring the 5900 to 5925 area as our target. As you can tell, we're forming kind of like an inverse head and shoulders now. So we could be looking for an attempt to push for 5900 to 5925 like this. We could be looking for some upside for now, but it could just be a temporary move. There's no guarantee this is going to last forever. If we get to 5925 to 5920, will we reject off this and see one more leg down, or do we just continue to push back up towards the highs? It all depends on what kind of news comes out from President Trump. So be prepared for some upside for now, and we'll see if this develops into something much larger or not. I'm looking for an attempt for 59.25 as soon as tomorrow on ES. On NQ, as long as we don't lose 21,139, we're actually favoring 21,400 as our target, and we'll see if we break this or not. So I'll be watching this very closely as we have an inverse head and shoulders, and 21,400 looks like a very, very good target. So watch that very closely as we have some more upside potential. Keep that in mind. For Bitcoin, we're looking for 108,900 as our support. If we lose 108,000 flat, we're looking for a bigger dump, but as long as we hold this, we're looking for a rebound and an attempt to get back up to 110,000 off this double bottom to see a big move for 110,000. I'm looking for a bounce on Bitcoin as the most likely possibility, so keep that in mind. For Tesla, like I said before, I'm looking for an attempt for 345 to see if that breaks. If we break that, we could go even higher for like the 350s again off this news about the European tariffs being delayed, but it could be a temporary move until we get more news. So just keep that in mind and watch resistance. On Nvidia, we're looking for a balance. We're actually at this support. We also have earnings this week for Nvidia. So we're looking for 132, then eventually this high over here, and we'll see if we reject off this or not. I do anticipate some upside on Nvidia to be retesting like 133 at the very least. So be ready for more upside on Nvidia stock. On Aapl, we have to try to hold 193.5. If not, we're looking for 190 as our main support. So we have to see if support holds. If it holds, we're looking for an attempt for basically 200, and we'll see how we end up reacting as time goes on. On Netflix, we're forming a flag. We're looking pretty good right now on Netflix. We have to see if we hold support. So we have support to watch for over here around the 1160s. As long as we hold this, though, we're looking for an attempt to break. I think that we could be retesting 1180, and we'll see if we break out towards 1200. So keep that in mind. MSTR has a double top rejection. We have our main support at 358 to 360, so we could be dipping here, and then we'll see if we get a big bounce like this. For Celsius, we're looking a bit more bullish. We're favoring 37 or so. We'll see if we break this to go higher or not, so look for some upside. For Supermicro, we're also trading sideways right here. I want to see if we can break past the 40 area. If that breaks, we're looking for 41 plus, and we'll see if we go higher. So keep that in mind. Palantir is forming a nice accumulation here. This typically leads to bullish outcomes. We have to hold above 123.7. As long as that holds, we're looking for an attempt for 127 all over again. For Rivian, we're looking pretty good. We're range bound between 15.88 and 15.26. We could be looking for some sideways price action before we try to bounce, so keep that in mind. SoFi is holding support here. We need to see if we can break past 13.25. So if we break this, we're looking for an attempt to bounce and a nice rebound attempt for 13.6. I'm looking for an attempt like this as long as we hold support for a bounce. On AMD, so long as we don't end up losing 109 and 108.5, we're actually favoring a bounce for 112 as the most likely possibility. For ARM, we're looking pretty good. I want to see us hold above 127. So long as we don't lose that, we're looking for an attempt to get back up towards 129. And we'll see if that holds for us to try to continue to push. For PayPal, we need to hold above 69. So long as that holds, we're looking for an attempt for 70.7. I am seeing some consolidation here, and then this could be looking for an attempt for the low 70s. Coinbase is rejecting here, looking kind of weak. I could be looking for a retest of this low around 257. But then we have to see if we can hold support here. If this holds, we're looking for a big rebound for essentially 268. For Amazon, we're making lower highs here. We have to see if we can hold above 202. If we can't, I'm looking for a move back down to 196, and we'll see if buyers defend. So look for an attempt for 196, and we'll have to see how things go. Meta looks kind of weak here. Could be retesting 620 to like 615, which is where this range is. And then we'll see if we bounce off that. So be very prepared just to be safe. For Google, we have 169 and 166 as our main supports. So we could be dipping towards these supports here. We'll see if we hold 166 to bounce. So give it some time. For Microsoft, we're making lower highs here. We have to see if we can hold above 452. If not, we're looking for a dip back down towards like 146. Then we'll see if buyers defend. So give this some time. For DJT, we have 26 as our resistance, and we'll have to see what happens there. For the VIX, we have 23 as the resistance. We'll see if we break this or not, or if we come back down to 20. For the 10-year, we're kind of flat here, and the dollar is also trying to look a bit more bullish, looking for 99.35. So we'll just have to see how things end up going. But with that being said, guys, as far as the market's going, we look bullish for now. So I anticipate some upside heading into tomorrow with the news involving President Trump delaying the tariffs. I think that's a big catalyst. And this could really help Tesla as well. So this may help Tesla rebound for at least 345, if not closer to 350 if that breaks. But the last time we hit 350, we did get a rejection. So there's no guarantee this is going to last forever. It could just be a temporary push higher to get back up to resistance on Tesla. So keep that in mind. Whether we break 350 will depend on another catalyst if we get more news. So we'll just have to see about that. But for now, look for some upside temporarily going into tomorrow, and we'll see what happens after that. I thank you all so much for listening. I'll keep you guys updated if we get more news about the tariffs. So have a good weekend, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day holiday, and I'll see you guys very soon tomorrow before market open. Until then, take care and peace out.